A Canadian has been sentenced to death in China after he'd already been sentenced to a jail term. Robert Lloyd Schellenberg was convicted for drug smuggling, accused of attempting to move methamphetamine from China to Australia. He was sentenced to 15 years in jail. But suddenly the case was recalled to court on Monday as Chinese authorities said the penalty had been too lenient. Schellenberg maintains that he was in China as a tourist. Well, Alistair Sanford is in the studio to talk a little bit more about this. Morning, Alistair.
Morning, Belle.
What do we know about where Schellenberg is right now and what's happening to him?
Well, this review of his sentence took place in the northeastern city of Dalian yesterday. As you say, he was sentenced to 15 years prison in November. Now, this was after several years of the process, and yet this review was ordered at a very short notice, and now he's been given the death penalty. He's in his 30s. He was arrested back in 2014, accused of being an accessory to smuggling over 220 kilos of methamphetamine to Australia. It said that pellets were hidden in car tyres. He's always denied these accusations, saying he was a tourist, as you've said, not a drug smuggler. Now, his lawyer says his client will appeal. He's criticised the sentence, saying this was a one-day hearing based on no new evidence that had been put forward. Unusually, Western media were brought in, invited to cover this review, this hearing, and an unusually long segment, some 5 minutes, was actually broadcast. Now, it's raised questions with suggestions that this was a tit-for-tat action and that his life is being used as a bargaining chip. Remember, in December, Canada arrested a senior Huawei executive, Meng Wanzhou, and she was held in Vancouver and faces extradition to the US, where she's accused of violating sanctions on Iran. Now, she denies wrongdoing. Today, China's foreign ministry has appealed to Canada to immediately release her, saying that her case is an abuse of legal procedures. But relations between the two countries certainly have deteriorated since the Meng case. And in fact, two other Canadians have been detained in China where they're suspected of endangering state security.
And what about the family and friends of Schellenberg? What's the reaction been from those who know him?
As you can imagine, one of shock and anger. The family say that their worst fears have been realised, saying this is horrific and heartbreaking. Human Rights Watch says you have to ask why this particular person of this particular nationality was given this review of his sentence at this particular time. And the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has reacted fairly angrily. Let's have a listen to what he had to say.
It is of extreme concern to us as a government, as it should be to all our international friends and allies, that China has chosen to begin to arbitrarily apply death penalty in cases facing, as in this case, facing a Canadian.
Now, in turn, that kind of indignant reaction has brought anger in China, with state media saying that they've not been putting pressure on Canada and saying the criticism shows rude contempt for China's law. As I say, relations have deteriorated after the Meng case. China's ambassador to Canada accused the country of white supremacy, so that shows just how low relations have gone. Of course, some analysts see that geopolitics is having a lot to do with this case.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Alistair Sanford there.